Hey, what's going on, guys? So today I want to do an update on Gus and his health. Some things have changed. If you don't know the backstory, I'll give you the quick version of it. Basically, he developed a severe allergy to most proteins in his older age now. Gus is 8 years old. So, you know, he's considered a senior once your dog, I think it's all pets, but once they reach 7 years old, they're in their senior years and they start having problems just like people. You know, when you get old, things start breaking down and not working. And for him, it's a digestive issue. It's actually very common. It's not even just his breed. It's just common in a lot of different dogs as they get older. So yeah, he has this severe allergy to protein. It took many, many months of blood work and testing and trying different food and this, that, and the other thing to try to figure out what was going to help him. He lost a ton of weight because the food was just going right through him. He had severe diarrhea, chronic diarrhea all the time. I just felt so bad for him. He was always hungry and he just couldn't feel satisfied because his body wasn't absorbing anything. But luckily, a couple months back, the vet figured all this out and we got him on the proper food, which is like it's a medicated food. I have to order it special. It is a hydrolyzed protein food, which I believe what they do is on some molecular structure break down the protein so it's able to be absorbed in his body. You know, if I just give him a piece of chicken or beef or something, it'll just turn to diarrhea and he gets none of that. None of it is absorbed, you know, into his, system. So anyway, he's on this special food and he was going every single month for B12 shots because it's very, very important to have the proper amount of B12 in his system. And the last visit, or actually 2 visits ago, the vet had mentioned to me that, you know, it's a little expensive to keep coming in every month and going through this whole process and us giving him a shot. I said, it's really not that hard. You could do it at home. So I told her that, you know, I'm willing to learn. I don't like the idea of sticking Gus with needles. I'd rather have a professional do it. But she assured me it was easy. So the last visit I went to, she went through the whole process with me. Actually, it was her assistant. And it's pretty straightforward. Gus has always been really good with needles. He doesn't have his particular breed, being an English Bulldog, he doesn't have as much sensitivity. Like for example, I'll tell you, they struggled with getting blood one time with him in his arm, and the assistant, a different one that I just talked about, they must have stuck him like 15 times in the arm. Could not find, a vein to get some blood. I'm like, I feel so bad. He's just getting stuck. It's like, he's just looking at me. He's not complaining. Doesn't seem to hurt or anything. And eventually they just stuck him right in the neck and took blood from there, and he didn't care. So he doesn't mind needles. It's actually kind of strange because he doesn't care about needles, but he flips out when you cut his nails. He doesn't really bite or anything, but he's very powerful. He's a lot of muscle. And he'll pull and he'll cry and put up a huge stink getting his nails cut or trimmed. But anyway, so yes, the vet convinced me to do the shots at home, so that's what I have here. They gave me a couple hypodermic needles and, you know, this big old vial of B12, which will last longer for the money than going and getting the shots each time. So that's the latest. Is every month now I have to stick him myself, but it is pretty straightforward. It's hard to mess up, and I really pay attention to what I have to do, so I feel like I'll do that fine for him, and he won't have to take that trip all the way down to the vet. Also, what was really interesting that I didn't even think of is Gus was taking HeartGard every month. If you're not familiar, HeartGard, very common medicine to prevent worms, heart disease, stuff like that. But the HeartGard pill has beef in it because it's a dog treat. That's how they get dogs to eat the medicine. And it was an oral, edible pill, or not a pill, but like a soft treat essentially with medicine in it. And it totally didn't even occur to me that the beef that was in there was also upsetting him, because when we gave him his HeartGard, he would have a spout of diarrhea for another week or 2. So yeah, I mean, something so small and minuscule really messed his system up for a while. So now we're on this. This is, I want to say it's like a soy-based something or other. There's no protein in this, which is specific to dogs with allergies. So this is Interceptor Plus, all right? Same thing, it is an oral version of HeartGard. I think it has the same active ingredients as HeartGard, but without that beef. So you can see what it prevents there on the bottom. Pretty interesting. So hopefully between, this, and by the way, he did gain all of his weight back. That's a huge plus, big thumbs up there. I mean, every month it was a little bit at a time. We finally reached a healthy zone. He is officially 51 pounds, 51 point something, 0.3 or something like that. But he is officially over 50 pounds, and that is the healthy range for an adult English Bulldog. They should weigh between 50 and 55. Now, that being said, the vast majority of English Bulldogs in America are overweight. They're probably 60 to 75 pounds. That's unhealthy to be too big. Gus has been to both extremes. He has now been all the way down to, I think, like 35 pounds, which is very sick. And he's been as fat as like 65 pounds. All right, so he's had pretty extreme range there, but now he is perfectly healthy, and we're going to keep him in that 50 to 55, window. So yeah, overall he's doing great. He's had solid stool for a while now, and all the changes we've made seem to have really helped. But it's something that he will always have, and that's what the vet kind of told me in the beginning, is that all these problems that he's having, you have to adapt to them. You have to give him the proper medicine and the proper treatment, but it might not go back to what it was. And that's how it looks, is that for the rest of his life, every month he will need a B12 injection. He will need to stay away from all kinds of proteins and stuff. And that's killer for me because, being dad and loving him so much. And I mean, how do you treat your dog? How do you do something special besides actually playing with them and bringing them places and doing things like that? It's food. Right? We treat them with food. We give them a piece of steak or something, or a little hunk of bread or whatever they can have. That's kind of like one way to treat them. And that's something I've always done. I've given them table food, nothing like crazy, like sauces or anything, just very bland parts of my meals. Like I said, a piece of meat that was plain with no sauce, or a little piece of bread, or this, that, and the other. And he's always expected that. When he got sick, he didn't get that anymore. And he would kind of give me these looks like, hey, what did I do wrong? And it broke my heart. But it was very important for him and his health to not do that anymore. What is good, though, is after talking to the vet, I can give him, some vegetables and some things here and there just to change the monotony of having the same food all the time, because he's stuck on this one specific type of food for the rest of his life. So at least I do have some other options. I give it to him occasionally as like a treat. Things like sweet potatoes, I can, chunk up sweet potatoes and boil them, just so he has like something different. Imagine eating the exact same thing every day for the rest of your life. That sounds pretty horrible to me. But I do put a lot of value on food, I guess. So anyway, the point is Gus is doing very, very well. It is a life change for the rest of his life. He will have to do this stuff, but he's healthy and he's happy. And I couldn't be happier either, because you guys know he's the world to me. So anyway, just to sum it up, Gus is doing A-okay. He had major changes to his body, and we just have to deal with it. Just like people. Things happen, and you got to cope. But he is doing very well. I appreciate all the people who ask about him occasionally. But also, besides just Gus specifically, it's just a general, heads up. Hey, if you got pets, it doesn't matter if you got, cats, dogs, reptiles, birds. I don't care if you have a pet cockroach. If you're used to seeing it do one thing, and all of a sudden it's acting weird, you should get it checked out. Something's probably wrong. The hardest parts with babies and small children, as well as animals, is they can't tell us when they're in pain. So you have to just watch how they act, and if it seems like they're uncomfortable or something's weird, something's up, just like a person, get them to a vet, get them to a doctor as soon as possible, and see what's going on. So hopefully you can help it. Because just like people, if you find something early enough, it's usually easier to help or prevent. But when you wait and wait and wait, things get to a point where it's just too late. So anyway, that is all. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope all your pets are happy and healthy. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.